This episode of the Love Looks Like This project touches on navigating interracial relationships, diet culture, shopping for clothes as a plus-size person, and does include photos of a snake. Welcome to the Love Looks Like This project. My name is Sarah Margaret. I am a 27-year-old empowerment artist based out of Delaware, and my favorite artist, it changes all the time, but I'm really currently into the really gorgeous embroidery that Catherine Marchenko has on Instagram. I will link her Instagram below because I just really love the way her embroidery looks, and I think it's really cool. And I don't know if I pronounced her name correctly. I really hope I did.
Hi, and I am Teresa Pena. I am 21 years old, and I am an early childhood education teacher, specifically working with 1-year-olds. My favorite artist at the moment, because it also changes all the time, is Gian Lorenzo Bernini, because I am obsessed with the way his sculptures look so realistic, and I actually had my mom and my fiance at the time, husband now, fly to Rome with me so that I could see some of his sculptures in person.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Your job is early childhood educator, but if you could describe yourself in a way that is not your profession, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as probably either like outdoorsy. I just always want to be outside.
Yeah?
Always.
Well, perfect, because we're going to be outside today for photos, but...
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do you like to do outside?
I like to hike, camp, swimming is my favorite, and then even like when I can, just going outside to read, going to the beach, taking walks, all the time.
I love that. That's awesome. I always think it's so interesting. Are you from Delaware?
Yes.
Okay. I always find it so interesting when people from Delaware say hiking, because I'm from New York, and so like I feel like Delaware is like the state equivalent of a pancake. So there's like no elevation to like hike.
Yeah, we don't do much hiking here. We have to like travel
somewhere else to do it. I do miss, that is one thing I miss about New York, because I'm in like upstate, or I call it central New York, but just the elevation and all the hiking and stuff. And then now when I go, I'm like, this is too much. But now you got the beaches and everything, so that's nice. So without much thinking, when I ask you about your body, what are the first 3 words that pop into your head? Like without much thought.
Oh, and it's movement, clothes, and oh my god, skin. I don't know.
All right. I've never had someone do 2 nouns to describe it, so that's interesting. Okay, so movement, again, that's going with outside and just walking and, moving around in nature. Is there any other types of movement that, like, made you think movement? So it seems like you're thinking a lot about what your body can do, which is really cool. I like that, rather than going straight to, like, a visual type thing. So that's super cool. So what kind of movement do you like to do or have?
I like, besides just like the camping and hiking and stuff, I love to like dance. I'm not good at it. Like, I'm definitely not like,
you don't have to be good at it.
Not like dance lessons or anything, but like just by myself, being able to like go to like concerts and stuff and move and dance and stuff like that. And I like to run. I feel like I have a lot of energy, so I'm always just like doing something, whether like even I can't even sit still when I'm watching a movie. I'm always like up and down and around. So.
I wish I had your energy. Well, you kind of need energy if you're going to be taking care of 1-year-olds.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to, figure out movement. And I mean, you don't have toddlers, so they're not, like, actively running away from you, but, like, or some of them doing that?
No, all of my kids can, because I have 1-year-olds, so they, like, I typically have, like, the older 1-year-olds, like...
Okay, so, like getting
like
close
a year and a half.
to 2. Okay.
So all of them can walk, almost all of them can run, all of them can climb.
Oh,
so it's constantly moving all day. And then a lot of times we dance. We have karaoke and dance parties, bubble parties, everything like that.
I love the idea of a bubble party. That sounds really fun. I don't have enough bubble parties in my life. So you recently got married.
Yes.
And so were you tearing it up on the dance floor then?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. I'll have to hear that. I just did another girl who was on the podcast, Erin. Her episode is going to come out before yours. I just photographed her wedding. And the most amazing moment from that wedding was her Grammy tearing it up on the dance floor.
I think I saw a picture of that.
Tearing it up on the dance floor. She was everything. She went on the dance floor and made her grand appearance during It's Getting Hot in Here and Take Off All Your Clothes. And she is like singing along, and I was like, oh my God, the zest for life you have is stronger than the one I have for my own life right now, and you are significantly older than me. So that was fantastic, and I love that. Did you have any older relatives tearing it up, or?
Yes, my grandmother actually bought a dress. It was like a puffy mesh dress that was over a slip dress, because she said if they play It's Getting Hot in Here, she could take off her dress and have that one. They unfortunately did not play it, so we didn't get a chance to see that, but she wanted to be prepared just in case.
Tragic, number one. Boo on that DJ. Very rude. I can't believe she worked on her wardrobe around that song. And the fact that she didn't get to show it off, that's tragic, in my opinion. So going back to the other words we said, clothing.
Yeah.
Tell me more about clothing and what that means for you.
Clothing has been a struggle for me, because I typically want more of an alternative style, but it's, especially when I was younger, really hard to access. The only place I could go would be Hot Topic.
I was wondering if you were going to name drop Hot Topic.
Always Hot Topic, and but I mean, I was a kid. I only had my mom's money. It was expensive, so she'd be like, "Can't you just go to Boscov's?" And I was like, "No." And then growing up, I would always not be able to shop in the kids section anymore. When I was a kid, I had to go up to the juniors, and then when I was in the junior section, I had to shop in the adult section. So I always had a really hard time finding stuff. And then even now, my weight fluctuates a ton. So it's really hard for me to get clothes that I like, because I might not fit it, whether I grow out of it or I lose weight and I don't fit into it anymore. So I have a hard time buying pieces that I really like, because I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to keep them.
Yeah, I get that. When your weight is fluctuating, does it normally stay within a range? Okay, if it doesn't fit me right now, it'll fit me again later? Or you're once I'm out of that weight, it's done?
It's sometimes, I have a lot of stuff that I do. I keep it all, but the issue is when I keep it, then I'm now I have to try to get back into it. So I don't like to hold on to it for that reason, but then if I go back down to that size, then I'm oh man, I should have had that. I had all this cute stuff.
Yeah, that's hard. But I really like that you recognize that, and you're I'm not going to do the whole, my body needs to fit this clothes, the clothes need to fit my body, because I think that we feel that, oh, I got to get down to this goal weight, so I have this goal dress and whatever. I'm you could also just get the dress in the size that's actually going to fit your body and feel comfortable. I also have a very strong struggle with clothes as well, which I just posted about yesterday, because I lost a significant amount of weight just because people ask how I'm I stopped drinking and I played Pokemon Go, because I walked more, and that was literally it. And the real answer is I wasn't nearly as depressed as I was before. So I lost a lot of weight, and I've had the same clothing for a very long time, and I always talk about happy fabric. There are some fabrics that are not happy fabrics, and I cannot wear them because they make me viscerally angry because of the just sensory stuff I have. So I was I don't know what to wear, or what's gonna feel comfortable and look good. So my mom, thankfully, volunteers at a rummage sale through her church, and she was picking out pieces for me and setting them aside, so I didn't have to spend $1 million on a new wardrobe or whatever, and I could try out different things. She went a little overboard. When I went up to New York to go see her, she was okay, it's time for the boutique. I'm the boutique? And she covered the entire table with all these clothes, and I had to go through them. It was crazy. So I still have a bag in my room that I have to try on more, but it's been very overwhelming to keep trying stuff on. Yeah. Which I'm glad I'm doing it in my home, but trying on stuff in stores is just I haven't done it in so long, and it's just, do you have to do that when you're looking for new clothes?
Yeah, I try to shop online now, just because I can't stand it. But going into stores, back to school shopping every year was my worst nightmare. I would go into the stores, and then I would just have a meltdown. I would cry. My mom would get mad at me because I wasn't getting clothes, but then I would complain when it was time to go to school that I didn't have any clothes. So online shopping has been helpful, but now you gotta buy it, wait, try to send it back, possibly keep it, but it's hard either way.
Yeah, no, it's hard either way. And I mean, a lot of places, physical places, don't carry sizes that are gonna fit, like, which is also really obnoxious. There's the Instagram account, I think it's Samaya, I think. Like, have you seen her before? She has the song that she like, big bad gotta go to the back, like, because that's where oh my god, she's amazing. I love her. She's fantastic. And she just goes into stores and, like, sees if they actually do have plus size. And the recent one on her hit list was Old Navy, because they're like, all sizes and whatever. And she goes in, they don't have any sizes that she has, and they're like, oh, it's all online, you gotta go shop online. And she's like, you're using plus size bodies in your marketing, how do you not have them in the stores? And she'll, like, go to all the places and she'll, like, call them out. I'm like, girl, I love this. And I also never knew that X at, like, 1X, 2X is different than 1XL and 2XL. I did not know that.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
Wait,
like, so, like, 2X, 3X, 4X is different than 2XL. Because 2XL is just the expanded straight sizes, and it's, like, the same exact, like, measurements and everything, and 2X is actually, like, constructed with different, like, measurement types. So 1XL is not, like, a plus size, which is crazy.
I never knew that.
I didn't either. I'm, like, doing the Lord's work. The last one you said was skin, which is very interesting, and I want to hear more about why skin was something you said.
Mostly because I have, like, allergic reactions to a lot of things. Like, I have very sensitive skin, so that is something that also is an insecurity of mine, because sometimes they'll just get hives or anything, so gotta try to cover it up. But that, I don't know, that was just,
that's connected with bodies. And then normally when you cover it up, it gets worse. It's like, oh yeah, cover up acne with makeup. And I'm like, oh, the makeup that's going to make it even worse Yeah, and
I never had any issues with acne at all. Like, my skin was perfectly clear up until COVID, when we wore face masks, and I had terrible breakouts. And then we don't wear face masks anymore, but I still get them sometimes. Like,
that's so weird.
It was
I know maskne was an issue.
Once it started, it just, like, it's been a struggle, but it wasn't never before. I'm like, those masks got me.
Did keep us from getting, sick for the most part. So it's like, not getting COVID versus having breakouts. Breakouts worse, no kidding. But yeah, no, that's really tough. And I am very excited that you are the first person who is a person of color on the podcast. I've not had that yet. And you are now married to a white guy. Yeah. So what has that experience been like? It's
so weird. Because it's not something that, like normally is, like, in our conversation, but, like, when we go to his family events, I am the only person that's not white there, and nobody says anything, but, like, just being in a room, like, you're just looking around, it's like, like, I know, and everybody else knows. And there's been, like, comments, like, when we first started dating, my mom was like, oh, he's just a little white boy, you're not into him. And I'm like, actually, we've been dating for 2 weeks. So that was how my mom found out, because he was my first boyfriend, so I never dated anybody.
Really?
So yeah, and then she made the comment. I was like, well, actually.
Oh my gosh. So what is it like when Beaker? Oh, now we're best friends after you, like, threw a fit when she walked in the door. What is it like when I'm assuming he is the only white boy at your family functions?
No, my family is so mixed.
Really?
Like, I just go with my nieces and my nephews. My oldest nephew is very dark skinned. Like, you would not tell that he's mixed, because my sister is also mixed. We have different dads. But he's mixed, but fully, like, you would just think he's a black boy. And then his sister, I said niece. I think I meant my nephew. My nephew, he's a black boy. And then my niece, she looks like your typical mixed person. She has, like, the curlier hair, and that's how my sister is. So they look like mixed people. And then my nephew is Filipino, and he's also mixed. So I have, like, everybody. And then my cousins on my mom's side are all white. My cousins on my dad's side are all black. We have, like, in our family pictures, it's just, like, a full spectrum.
I love it.
Yeah, my grandmother, she's white, like, so it's
all
when
right.
he comes to our side, it's not like that, and I never really thought about it up until like we got together, and because nobody in my side is the only one, because there's a million people of every color, and then going there, it's a little bit different.
A little bit different.
But
so what, how do you identify yourself and your cultural identity?
So growing up with my mom, because my dad was not around very much. She is half white and half Mexican, but she was raised by her mom, who was white. So I always thought just my mom was white.
Okay.
And I knew that I wasn't, because I knew my dad, and then my other, like, half of the family was not. So, but I never really knew, like, kind of where I fit in, because my siblings, they looked more like typical mixed people. They have the curly hair. I have I have a little bit of, like, some way, but, my mom always she was like, okay, you got to wash your hair every day. You got to do this. So then my hair was, like, really straight, and it was really frizzy because we only took care of it like white hair. So that has always actually been, like, a really big thing. And actually learning how to take care of it has been one major thing that's helped me a lot with how I look at myself, because I'm like, okay, so at least there's that. But just the other day at work, I was talking about my nieces and my nephews, and I said something about my sister's dad being more black than mine. And my coworker said, wait, you're black? I thought you were Indian. And I was like, no. So yeah, it's just always like not really knowing where to fit in, being raised like predominantly around like white people, but knowing that there's just other things. So I'm trying to learn Spanish, because I am like a good chunk Hispanic, good chunk.
Good chunk. I like it. That's awesome. I mean, your last name conjures the idea of being a chunk Hispanic.
Yeah, when I had my third year of Spanish classes in high school, I had to ask my teacher a question. It was like within the first week of school. And I went up to her and I started asking her, like, kind of like whatever the question was. And she's like, okay, you don't need to pretend like you don't know this. I understand that this is all basic level for you, but I just really need you to sit down so that I can continue teaching. And I'm like, actually, I speak English. And she was like, oh, I just assumed. I'm like, yeah, well, no. Can you just please help me?
Was this Spanish teacher white?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I believe it. So how would you describe your current relationship with your body, and how does that compare with your historical relationship with your body?
Now I would say it's more neutral than it's been. I've always really struggled growing up with my mom, who was plus size. She's really hammered in the diet culture. So ever since I was a little kid, I knew that, like, oh, I'm overweight, so we should try to go on a diet, or we should try to exercise. So from her just trying to help herself, her trying to help me, doctors, now I am just through basically being able to educate myself a little bit more and seeing more perspectives, I am able to be more neutral. I still struggle more than not.
Yeah.
But it is a much more neutral space. And then especially now being able to have my own money, so I can buy clothes whenever I want to, however I want to. And I am more in charge of my own food decisions and when I do exercise or not. So I would say more towards the neutral side, still in the struggle zone.
Yeah, no. I mean, we are all. Yeah, it makes me so sad. There have been multiple people who have talked about parents impacting diet culture with them. And the first episode, Sarah, she was talking about going to Weight Watchers with her dad and stuff like that. So when your mom like talks about like diet culture, was it like a bunch of different like fad diets, or was it just like this is what healthy eating looks like? Or
no, because I don't think it would have been that much if she was just like, okay, this is healthy eating. It was the first diet I remember we went on together was the 400 calorie diet. So every meal we could have 400 calories 3 times a day. And it wasn't like, let's eat more fruits and vegetables. It was, you can eat whatever you want, only 400 calories worth of it. So if you want an ice cream cone, that's fine. But just make sure it fits within your set. Another one is the military diet, which is supposed to start your metabolism. So for 3 days, you eat like a certain thing. It's like bread and an egg, and then a hot dog and a grapefruit, or I don't know. It's like a set of meals that you're supposed to eat for 3 days that are supposed to boost your metabolism. That she still actually does every once in a while, because I saw the printout on her counter the other day when I went there. I said, "Are you doing that again?" "No, I'm not doing it again because I already did it again." And then the most recent one that she's on is, she told me that, so Monday is my grandmother's birthday, and I asked if we were going out to eat because we normally do dinner for birthdays. She said no, because we're going out on Saturday. And also her newest diet is, it's called, I think, the 5-2 diet. So for 2 days out of the week, you only eat 500 calories that whole day. And it's also supposed to boost your metabolism. I tried to explain to her that that's probably not smart, but she said her doctor told her to do that. Because he went to an obesity prevention convention that was one of the new strategies that they were going to be trying out.
Okay.
So there's just been tons of things like that we've tried.
I'm glad I asked, because I have not heard of any of those. And the one that concerns me the most, like for kids, is like, you can have ice cream cones as long as that's an interesting approach. I normally have to have my headphones on with something playing, otherwise the voices in my head. Right now I'm like on a really hardcore anti-MLM kick, and they talk about like Optavia a lot, which is like a starvation diet, basically. It sounds very similar to a lot of those. And of course, with that, they can sell you all the supplements, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm assuming your husband did not grow up with diet culture.
No.
I feel like men typically don't.
No.
What has, like, cooking looked like for you guys? Since I'm also assuming you guys grew up with very different food.
Yes. I do all the cooking by choice because I'm very, micromanagey about what I eat. I've actually done most of the cooking for myself for a while, even before we got together. When I lived with my mom, I started cooking dinners because I wanted to be a vegetarian. I wanted to be a vegetarian since I was in kindergarten, but my mom wouldn't let me because she was concerned about my protein intake. Which is kind of funny considering all the other stuff. But I really just think she didn't want to go through the work of trying, which I mean,
it is a lot of work, but
it's valid. So when I was a kid, I ate what she made, and then I slowly started cutting out meat. Like maybe when I was in middle school, I would only eat chicken, and then in 2020 when I was home, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fully be vegetarian. I have time to be home. I have time to learn how to cook. And since then, I was in high school, I just have fully cooked pretty much everything. And he has come from a very like meat and potatoes type of family. They have like their steak and their green beans and their baked potato.
I knew you were going to say potato at the end of that.
And it was like, that's like a typical meal that we would have when we went over there. And they always looked at me like I was weird because I didn't want to eat, didn't want to eat their meat. So, I would have typically at first they would like make me like chicken or whatever because I would eat that. But then I just started bringing out my own food. And then when he moved out, he didn't like anything. He didn't like a lot of vegetables. He didn't like a lot of things that are out of the ordinary. But I was basically like, well, this is what I'm going to cook. If you want to make chicken nuggets on the side, you can feel free. And that's kind of how it started. But then he was like, oh, well, I'll taste it. And then he's like, oh, plants are good. So now he eats everything that I eat pretty much except for mushrooms. He won't eat mushrooms. Well,
that's fair.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, well, that's one thing.
That's fair. So are you still vegetarian?
Yes.
Is he vegetarian, or he's just eating the vegetarian things you have and when you go out to eat?
Yeah, he is not vegetarian, but we just have very minimal meat in the house.
Gotcha. You can have your chicken nuggets on the side.
That's like because I don't like touching meat, so I was like, I can cook you chicken nuggets, but that's the best I can
do. Here's my offer: chicken nuggets. No, that's fair. I am used to it at this point, but like chicken is a very weird texture. Like it's a very weird texture, and I have a lot of neurodivergent friends who are like, I'm not doing raw chicken. I'm like, that's fair. I've gotten used to it, so I can do it. But because I also do all the cooking by choice, because we both think that we have a better end of the deal because Justin, he does the dishes and I do the cooking. He hates cooking and I hate doing dishes, so it works out perfectly. Because I'm like, I don't want to touch the icky food at the bottom of the sink. I'm not doing that. And I'm like, that's boy job. You do that. And I don't want to do that. So I'd rather touch fresh raw chicken than the whatever the fuck's going on down there. So on the continuum of me versus my body to my body is a part of me, how do you perceive your relationship with your body?
I think it depends on the day, and it just swings back and forth. A lot of it has to do going back to clothes. If I have a really good outfit on and I feel great, I'm like, oh, this is like me and my body, like we're chill. But then a lot of times I'm just like, nothing fits, nothing looks good. I'm a steaming pile of garbage.
Yeah.
Let me just go rot in the corner. So it's like I wouldn't even be able to have an average because it's so different.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it's so interesting how clothing can shift that very strongly. Because, again, that's why I had to get rid of all the non-happy fabric. Because, like, even if it, like, looked great on me, if it's not feeling good, nope, I just want to, like, rip my skin off and just be like, nope. Take that off and go somewhere else. What is the first moment you remember feeling like some outside force was impacting the way you saw your own body?
Probably either just like when I was like very young and going shopping and not being able to fit in like kids' clothes, even though I was still very much a kid. Or yeah, that's probably what it would be. Like that's like probably the very like first times when I realized that, oh, I feel some type of way about this.
Yeah, no, that's really tough. And how young do you think that was? Like elementary school or middle school? Or?
It was elementary school, definitely. It was before middle school.
That's crazy, like how early it starts. What moment in your life had the biggest impact on your relationship with your body?
I could see probably when I was going into middle school, because that was when we started having to change for gym.
You are the second person to bring that up. Yep.
Probably. And then I realized I was like, I don't even have real bras. Like, you want me to change in front of people? So I was like, Mom, I need to go to the store. I need to get bras. And then I was like, okay, I have bras now that feel uncomfortable because I never wore this before. And now I'm going to gym, and now every single person I know is just naked in front of each other. And this is horrible.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a very interesting and visceral reaction you have to that. And you are the second person to bring that up. And I also remember that being like, and also the bras thing, which I'm going through again because now none of my bras fit now. So I've been rocking this same sports bra for a very long time. I went to Walmart and I was walking through and I was like, sure, I'll pick up some. And then I brought them home and I'm like, these don't fit at all. So now I got to go through that all over again. And I was part of the very tiny titty committee. So like I was wearing a bra and like for, changing. I did not need to be. There was nothing there, but I'm like, you don't want nips out. Like, well, so I'm like,
I've always had boobs, but I would just wear like sports bras and stuff before that. Like, it was never like a real bra. But then I was like, I need like something sexy, and I don't know why, because like it was a locker room, but I was like,
middle school locker room.
This like I can't just be in like a sports bra, and then also like. Some people would like change in the bathroom, but I was like, no, I don't want to draw attention to the fact that I like don't like my body, because like if I go in the bathroom, then everybody's gonna like be like, oh, look at her change. So like I gotta change in front of everybody, and I gotta pretend like I don't care. And then
there's so much performative to it. It's crazy.
So I was like, I gotta pretend to be confident, which made it worse because instead of just like changing quickly like I should have, I was like, hey guys, look at my bra.
Love and hate that for you. I'm just like the weirdest kind of like a training bra. Why is it called that? What are we training for? Is there a reason for that? Like, why do we call it that? Like I think that's probably what I had to wear because like it wasn't doing anything. So what am I training for? The misery of wearing a bra for the rest of my life? Like, God.
Pretty much.
How do you feel like your perception of your body impacts your relationship with other people?
It depends on the person. With most people, I don't think it impacts me, but just like being the only person of color in the room, I do often look around and be like, oh, I am the biggest person in this room. So it doesn't normally, like, not too much, but it's just always in the back of my mind. So I'm like, all right, let's make sure my shirt's pulled down, and let's make sure my jacket's on, and that kind of thing. But like, just on like the daily, not too much.
That's good. I like that. Biggest thing I see with people is like your like intimate relationship, like with your or romantic relationship. So did that play a part in your relationship with your now husband?
Yeah. So like I said, he was my first boyfriend, so we never really did anything. And I always would I would tell him, I'd be like, yeah, I feel fat. Like I don't like the way I look. And he'd be like, but you like, what do you mean? Like you're fine. Like you look beautiful. And I'm like,
I was gonna say he better not just leave it at you look fine.
No, I mean like, you're like, what do you mean? Like you look great. And I'm just like, okay, you see that, but not me. And then like we would sometimes like actually argue about it, because I would like put something on and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I really want to get this dress. And then I put it on and I'd be like, ew, I look disgusting. He'd be like, it looks great on you. What do you mean? And I'm like, no, it does not look great. So we used to argue a lot, like when we were like teenagers, about that kind of thing. He'd be like, no. Now, I mean, he tells me I look good and I tell him we're going to have to agree to disagree sometimes. Like that's...
Yeah,
that just is what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that. Hopefully that happens less and less often, and you're working towards, because again, that's another common theme we've seen of like really having a difficult time accepting compliments. Like feels like a struggle for a lot of people. How often do you feel like how often do you, like a percentage, is it often that you are the only person of color in a room? Do you feel like on the day-to-day?
When I had my first job that, like before I moved out of my parents' house, I like 100% of the time there was one other person of color who worked there. All the students were predominantly white. I had like, in the 3 years that I worked there, I might have had like 5 or 6 children that weren't white. So I was always the only non-white person there. Now I work in a predominantly black center.
Nice.
So it's very rarely am I the only person of color. Like all 3 of my like immediate coworkers are black. At least 50 to 75% of my students are black or mixed or of some sort of color. So it depends. And then when I'm with Chris, my husband, and his family, it's more. And then with my family, it's less. So it's like a good mix of being the only person and then just being
and how do you and you mentioned that you feel different in those spaces. Like when you walk into a room, how quickly do you figure out like, oh yeah, I'm the only person of color in here? Like, do you scan, or like, do you just like get that vibe of like, there's a lot of white in here?
Living with like my mom and just her being like presenting white, it's never been like where like uncomfortable. Like, so it's not like an immediate like lights go off or anything, but it's sometimes when they'll start talking about like just anything, like their hair or like their makeup or something, and I'm just like, oh yeah. Or like the people at my job, they're predominantly black, so I'll be like hanging out with them like we're good, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm getting my hair done, and I'm like, good for you, like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now I just brushed my hair and threw it in a ponytail.
No, that's so interesting that your hair doesn't fall into either camp of like, I'm washing it every day and it's going to be like this. And then also, also not doing I only have to wash it once a month and I'm getting the style in and it's going to be, so that's.
Yeah, hair is probably like the biggest thing for me. Because when, like, my whole childhood growing up, I had my 2 best friends were both white. I would go to their house, and my one best friend was, like, really into makeup, and she would always want to do my makeup, but I didn't have makeup, so she would use her makeup, and I would just look kind of crazy, because, and I mean, it was never, like, with bad intent. Like, we were always just having fun.
Yeah.
But, like, looking back at pictures of that, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't just go and buy some makeup to have at your house. I could have went to the dollar store and got something, like,
do you want to come up?
Yeah, so it's usually just, like, hair, and then now, like, nobody's doing my makeup, really, besides me, so that's fine. But it's always, like, the hair conversation.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I majored in English and communications in college, and we had, like, a final writing project, whatever, and there was I love her, Grace, she's amazing, a black girl in my graduating class, and her entire final writing project was all about hair. And that was the first time I was like, oh, wow, yeah, your experience is way different than mine. And like, I remember when I was inviting my friend Khadijah over for the first time, she was going to sleep over, I panic texted Grace and I was like, what hair stuff do I need to have in my like shower? Cause I know she can't have my white girl stuff. And Khadijah was like, Sarah, I don't wash my hair. Like I only do it once a month. You're fine. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes it easier. And just like, I know like the hours it takes to do some of these styles, like I can't have my hands like above. So when people do it themselves, I'm like,
but like working with my babies, I'm like, they come in with like their hair braided. I'm like, how do you get them to
a 1-year-old to
down?
Sit? Oh my gosh.
To get braids put in or anything like that.
I didn't let my mom brush my hair like in elementary school, and all you got to do is and we're done. Like
my mom, I was not allowed to wear my hair down until probably 5th grade. I was definitely out of elementary school. I was not allowed to wear my hair down because my hair gets really frizzy if it and like more so than like a normal white person, and it doesn't brush out easy. I have some strands in my hair that are actually coily.
Really?
So like it's not a lot of it, but there are certain like strands in there that are completely other textures.
Wow.
So if my hair does get frizzy and it's like wild and stuff, it'll knot up really bad and it's really hard to brush it out.
Crazy.
So I was not allowed to wear my hair down. I always had to wear my hair definitely like up fully, and it wasn't normally just a ponytail. It would be like up and then like braided back and then like into another ponytail, because my sister is mixed, so I would kind of get the hairstyles that she would have gotten, but I had to get mine done every day, whereas hers would be every other day or so. So I had to get like the same hairstyles every day to keep my hair. But then also I like my hair, to me, I was like, it's white hair. Like all my friends are just wearing their hair down with a barrette. So it's...
And you feel like now that you have like a hair care routine, like you can have it down. I mean, obviously.
I usually wear it down unless I'm at work, then I wear it up. Gotcha. Or sometimes I wear it down at work, but the kids are nasty.
Kids are gross. Like they're little petri dishes. They're very nasty. What makes you feel happiest in your body?
When I have a good outfit. Like that.
Yeah, all coming back into the clothes. I love that. How do you, like, you love this outfit? Is that you were like, I love it. I think it's super, super cute. And when you were talking about alternative, I was like, yeah,
my pants, my brother-in-law brought them back for me when he went on vacation, and there was like a Disney outlet.
Nice. Wait, is it Disney?
Yeah, it's the spooky, scary skeletons.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so he got me these pants. I thrifted this because I love to thrift a good like oversized men's thing. And then my shoes, Doc Martens all the way. I wore Doc Martens to my wedding.
These are Doc Martens?
Yeah, they're Doc Marten sandals.
I didn't know they made sandals.
Yep, I had white Doc Marten boots for my wedding. I have these sandals that I wear in the summer, and then the same Doc Marten boots that I got when I was in 7th grade, I still wear like regularly.
That's amazing. I need a good, like, I used to like get those like knockoff combat boot type things, and they would wear out after like one winter. So I need to, I'll look into that. And I feel like as a bisexual, I just need them. Like, I feel like that's a requirement.
Look into them quick because they are getting more expensive. Like, as the years go on, my grandma gave me a gift card to Journeys to get my first pair of boots when I was in 7th grade. Because I would also wear, like, the fake combat boots. But my grandma for Christmas, and I was so excited, I bought them. They were, like, $140. The ones we had to get for the wedding are now up to $170.
Bro.
So,
come on.
And I'm like, they're not going to stop.
And you're much closer to 7th grade than I am. I did not realize you were 21. That's crazy. What was it like getting a hair and makeup artist for your wedding?
My niece was my, like, flower girl, and she has mixed hair, so that was my main concern, is that somebody would be able to do my hair, and also that she'd be able to have her hair done in any way. So the skin tones I wasn't as worried about, because I know it's similar, like, you just need to make sure that, like, you have the right range of tones. So and I found most of my vendors through Instagram, so I would just scroll, make sure they had some people of color on there, and I'm like, okay, so you're good. But the one person that I reached out to, we were talking about the hair, and I was like, okay, this looks good. And then I sent her pictures of my niece. I was like, okay, this is my niece. This is my flower girl. Can you do her hair? Never responded. Like after like
She
a full
literally
conversation,
ghosted you?
ghosted
Are
me.
you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, there's no shame in, I mean, a little bit of shame in saying like, sorry, I think that's out of my scope.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have respected her for saying that. Like,
that's crazy.
But so everything like was fine. It went smoothly. I just like moved on to the next person. I wasn't hurt. Like,
oh my God, that's crazy.
but
I hate that.
yeah, she ghosted me, and I was like, okay. So I'm glad I sent these pictures. I'm glad I did what I did, because if she would have showed up on the day, then we'd have been in a
we would have had an issue. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. Well, thank goodness you were advocating for yourself and like knew to look out for that. Because like, I mean, when I started looking for hair and makeup artists, like for boudoir and stuff, I was like very, very, because I had heard experiences and horror stories from my friends. Like, I was just like, how do you not know how to do the hair for like half of the population? Like, I don't know. And I did a collab when I was like just starting out with like a hair and makeup artist who was just starting, and my friend Khadijah was modeling. And I had gone to get pizza for the models because we eat when we're modeling, like, come on. And she texted me and she was like, yeah, she did my makeup and I literally look like a clown. So I'm in the bathroom washing off all of the foundation. And she walked back out and she didn't even notice that I was like, all right, well, now I need to be a lot more stringent with who I go with, because that's absolutely ridiculous. What has helped heal parts of yourself that are impacted by insecurities?
For one, being able to buy like better clothes and stuff, and then just having my husband tell me like constantly that like that I look good, that I'm beautiful, that even if I'm not at the weight that I want to be, or even if my weight's fluctuating up and down, and he's always the first advocate. Like if I have a shirt that I like that is too big or something, he's like, well, then just tie it in the back. It's fine, like, you know. He's always supports me. And also, because he never grew up with the diet culture, when I'm like, oh, okay, I just don't want to eat dinner because I ate a lot today, he's like, just eat something. Like, come on, just eat something small, eat a little snack. And then if I'm like out of my house, like, I'll make you butter noodles. And I'm like, girl dinner, gotta eat it. Gotta.
Heard. Give me some. Amazing. I love that. When do you feel most comfortable in your body? I'm assuming you're going to say when you're wearing clothes you like. What do you like most about your body? And do not tell me when I'm wearing a good clothes. About your body without clothes.
I like that my body is able to do like everything that I want it to do. So like I like to hike, I like to camp, and sometimes I am the biggest person climbing up that mountain and huffing and puffing, but my body's gonna get me there.
Heck yeah.
So
love that. That's fantastic. And that tied right into my next question, which was, what are you proud of your body for being able to do? So getting yourself up that mountain, and I love that. And that literally railed into my final question too, which is, what do you appreciate about your body? Getting yourself up that mountain, both physically and emotionally, and metaphor. That's right. Metaphor as a metaphor. So we have completed the first part of the interview, and now it is boudoir time, which is very exciting because I've got some artsy things for us to do. I went and looked through, so we're going to do the regular pretty dress things. And then, because you said you like artsy stuff, I found some photos of famous sculptures, and we're going to replicate them with you and your body, which I'm very excited to do. So let's do it.
all right.
Okay, so this is your first boudoir experience,
yes.
Correct? How did it make you feel?
I was very surprised because I was not expecting to be like that. Just chill.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were very chill. I was like very surprised as well, because like when we had our initial consultation a while ago, you were like very nervous about the concept, but you were just like walking around titties out, like just living your life, and I loved that for you. What would you say is the most prominent emotion you felt during the experience?
I just felt good.
Yes, love it. Do you need to? Okay. Oh God. All right. Come on. There we go. Felt good. Love that. Love that. That's very good. Okay. So, are you ready to see your photos?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're just gonna go through and scroll down, and then just go on through them, and just take your time and go on through them.
Wow. It looks like a movie poster.
Yeah, right? Now you gotta read Akatar so you can be in the movie.
I did think I was going to be scared of Boopsie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You put her on the list,
I know,
and I was
because
like,
I love snakes. But
yeah, but you're nervous. But she was like super sweet. She was a really sweet, and you beat my husband to it because he still has never held her. He's scared of her too, which like I don't understand because like they're just little noodles. Like, and when he's like, well, she's gonna bite me. I'm like, Justin, we have a 65-pound. This is a while ago. If we have a 65-pound pit bull with a bite history, like, what do you think this snake is gonna do that, like, the dog can't do? But yeah, she definitely had more. This is her second session outside. She was with Aaron. She was not vibing with the Aaron experience. Like, she got it together, but she was being a wiggle noodle. But she was doing much. She was less of a wiggle noodle with you. Make it to the end. So there was a lot of silence, which always makes me nervous. But what was it like looking at these?
No, it's just like so different.
Yeah.
Than anything, because like I said, I have Chris take a lot of pictures. I always am like, take my picture, but like never like I think I put it before. Like I've never like I'm always like, oh yeah, it looks so cute, but I've never like I look sexy.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a big difference. That's crazy.
No, I mean, you were like, oh, like, I've never done this before. And then you were, like, whipping out, like, the RBF and everything. I was like, girl, all right, I know what you're doing. We're practicing your facial expressions. Were you nervous to look at the photos?
Yeah.
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 And then what was it like looking at them when you had, like, those nerves? And
yeah, I was just, like, surprised that I don't not like them. Like, I was like, oh, I'm probably just gonna be like, they're gonna be like, okay, like, cute concept, but I was surprised that I actually like them.
Yay! Okay, good. Oh, I hope you're not lying to me and you actually mean it. What do you think Chris is gonna think of them?
I think he's gonna be surprised.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you also just said I'm doing photos and then left, so he has no idea. Like,
yeah, because, I mean, and even I said, oh, I gotta pack my stuff. He said, he saw the lingerie, he's like, you're not taking that? I'm like...
I love that he has like the same energy as like my husband, where it's just like, I'm doing this, and he's like, okay, like.
He said, what are you packing? I said, just some clothes, just in case. And he's like, okay.
Sounds good. Has he seen you try on the Thistle Inspire?
No, not this one. No,
not this one? Okay. All right. Are you going to show him at some point?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. I love it. So if you could say something to 11-year-old Teresa, what would you say?
I would say it gets easier. Just like don't worry, you will find your style. You'll be able to get it together.
Yeah. So you hadn't like found your like alternative style at 11? Or you were still working on it?
It was still like I was like in that transition period between being a kid and not being able to like fit the kid stuff and then like kind of liking like the teenager style, like but in the junior section, but it wasn't really working for me. And my mom was like, let's go to Boscov's, and then Boscov's like only goes up to like a certain size in like each section. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna wear a blouse to school.
I love, like, I was looking back at my high school photos. I'm like, why did I dress business casual to go to high school? Like, I'm wearing like a blazer and a blouse.
Yeah,
like,
I had a blazer. It's the funny school. It was a hot pink blazer that I wore with a little pencil skirt and a purple tank top underneath of it. And it was like one of my school pictures because I thought that outfit was the best thing.
Everything. I love that. My sister, I think my favorite outfit fail is my sister in middle school. She was really into polka dots. Like, really into polka dots. And she has a black polka dot shirt and a matching black polka dot hairband. Style, I am telling you. I love that, and I do need to see that photo if you can find it, because I really want to see this fit, because I'm picturing it in my head. Very Elwood's chic. Love that for you.
It was something like
I'm sure it was. If you could say something to someone who is wishing they have the courage to do something to further their self-love journey, what would you say to them?
I would say, don't try to do things just because other people are doing them. If you don't like wearing crop tops, don't. If you do. Like, don't. If you don't like wearing baggy, oversized stuff, don't. If you don't like running, don't run. If you don't if you don't like anything, don't do it. There's always the opposite thing. Yeah. There's always just the opposite.
With running, there's not running. With baggy clothes, there's not baggy clothes. That's a good point. Like, there really is, like, something for everyone out there. And like, if we're all trying to do the same thing, then, because I've wasted a lot of time doing things that I didn't like. So that's good. That's a different thing than most people have said. So now it's time for you to pick the photo for your metal print. So thoughts and prayers, because I think there's 145. So you get to do that off camera. So, but thank you so much for joining us. This was very exciting, and I love all the vibes from our shoot. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Love Looks Like This project. If you want to support the project, you can do so for free by subscribing, watching more episodes, sharing this episode with your friends, and following us at all the links in the description. If you really want to support us, we have really pretty merch, art prints, and even a donation link with details with upcoming investments we plan to make on this project. And if you really, really want to support us by telling your story in an episode, make sure you join our self-love group on Facebook, as they always are the first to know about upcoming opportunities and will be the first to know when applications reopen. Please know that you are loved, you are irreplaceable, and beauty is not a price you have to pay to take up space on this earth. See you in the next episode.